Saygıdeğer hocalarım, değerli meslektaşlarım, şunu içtenlikle belirtmek isterim ki bu saatte gerçekten bizlerle birlikte olmanız hem bizler için onur verici hem de heyecanlandırıcı.
Thank you very much for being with us at this hour of the evening. Thank you. I'll be talking about anxiety disorders and oxytocin. What is anxiety? Anxiety is actually normal feeling, is adaptive. But when it becomes too much, it becomes a non-functional feeling and it becomes a disorder. Since 19th centuries, anxiety has been a discussion topic. Within time, it has evolved in DSM-5, a general anxiety disorder, selective speech disorders, agoraphobia. So it goes on like this, and in the DSM-5 it has classified with 7 subtypes, and between 15 to 32% prevalence is seen at adolescents and children. Anxiety disorders etiology can be evaluated under 3 titles: genetic factors, biological factors, psychological factors. These factors come together and disorder is developed. Mencken says every complex problem has a simple, clear and wrong answer. When we look at anxiety disorders perspective, from oxytocin perspective, we may not find the truth, but oxytocin and vasopressin have been analyzed a lot in order to find the truth about the anxiety. For the answer, we know that biological studies, translational studies, genetic studies, neuroimaging studies, treatment studies, these are very popular in the recent years. Translational studies try to adapt animal lives into the human lives. That's why they are very important for the integration studies. Genetic studies, neuroimaging studies focus on the polymorphisms. With the treatment studies, anxiety's etiology is tried to be elaborated. Treatment studies, as far as I have found, there are 40 or 50 different treatment studies evaluating oxytocin and vasopressin. Different polymorphism studies have been carried out and concrete results try to be found. There are certain limitations. What do we call anxiety? A fear, concern, dread. Many of the anxiety substitution findings are tried to be mentioned here, and it puts a limitation in the real thing that we have been seeking for. Treatment studies are limited because when the disorder is developed, when the disorder is progressed, there are differences from the treatment perspective, and there are some limitations about classification. Up until DSM-5 and ICD-10, there has been many changes in the treatment. Therefore, we can see a lot of limitations. We know that there are some predispositions, and one is related to defense system. Amygdala hyperactivity is suppressed. Autonomic reactivity is regulated. Puts a limitation on the treatment of anxiety disorder. Oxytocin level decreases and defense systems are affected because of this decreased level. Attachment can create a big impact on the anxiety disorder predisposition. Anxiety disorders, oxytocin and vasopressin, can also be evaluated under brain areas. Amygdala can be the real place for us to put the blame on. Brain's strionic dorsalamis and some other areas are connected to amygdala, and Marian neurocognitive trials have proven the role of amygdala. We know it's a major role in social behavior of the oxytocin was repeatedly shown. There are some models that we have been using in order to elaborate anxiety. It is a papillon model. On the right and the left, you can see some factors related to social functions, attachment, threat, perception. They are related to different factors, and they come together and intersect. And dopamine, some neurotransmitters, serotonin, glutamatin, many neurotransmitters have impact on this complex and sophisticated process. But we need to put it very clearly that this is caused by this molecule. But we cannot say this because we know that it is much more complex than saying a sole molecule is responsible for all these changes. What do the studies say? In 2014, Carson carried out a study about CSF oxytocin level and plasma oxytocin level, and Carson has found that there is a correlation between plasma oxytocin level and CSF oxytocin level, and elevated oxytocin level is a negative predictor for anxiety. Vasopressin may increase the oxytocin. So all in all, vasopressin is an anxiogenic hormone, but there are some inconsistent data to say it. So on the neuroimaging, in a very recent neuroimaging, amygdala and anterior insula is the places that we have seen hyperactivity, and oxytocin regulates that hyperactivity. Oxytocin has already been mentioned in the previous presentations on the male. It improves negative social activity, but at the same time, at the same trial, it has been found that oxytocin has no improvement on the negative social activity in women. And in the postpartum process, low oxytocin level can create big problems. We know that oxytocin and vasopressin is associated with negative social feedback. In 2016, because these trials have proven this. In the case of any threat, oxytocin has a residual activity and it creates some impact on the brain. What do other studies say? In 2008, Hawke found that increased levels of oxytocin in social anxiety disorder increases anxiety symptom. The satisfaction with social relations is associated with decreased levels of oxytocin. At the same study, it has been found in 2012, oxytocin level decreases related with social communication dissatisfaction. What are the other studies saying to us? Cortical hyperactivity is associated with social anxiety disorder. In 2011, Lobush, Hang et al. Published a trial. Low levels of oxytocin are associated with social anxiety. We know that oxytocin increases social anxiety, but we don't know some other information with respect to oxytocin and other types of anxiety. Let's have us finger in the pie. We have made a trial with my colleagues. However, there are some unfinished works. That's why I will not be giving all the details of our trial. You can see how our work is framed. We have taken 12 to 18-year-old adolescents, separation anxiety disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and panic disorder, and social anxiety disorder, and control group. These are three main groups that we have analyzed. Oxytocin and vasopressin is being analyzed as of the moment. I hope another congress I will be presenting the results of this trial. So all in all, we can say there is inconsistent data about oxytocin, anxiety, vasopressin, and anxiety levels. We know that oxytocin is anxiolytic and vasopressin is anxiogenetic, more related to social anxiety, and we know that there are more needs for further trials and treatment studies. Thank you very much for all of you for your patience.